the emotional chameleon. This one, when you're a child, this is where you get very anxious or nervous, or you don't trust people, because the core behavior of the emotional chameleon is the mom that shifts her mood quickly. She uses emotion to manipulate. So one minute she's happy, she's singing, kada mabsuta, and then in a minute you do something or she wants to control you, and then she's crying or she's in a rage or she manipulates you with silence. This emotional chameleon, that's the core of the mother wound, because you never know what you're going to get. You never know. Okay? And that is profoundly anxiety provoking, because that little girl or that little boy in you wants the happy mom, the loving mom. And that's what you're seeking every time you engage with her. But what you will get is this emotional chameleon who will flip flop, and that can take you into your own internal spiral of that. So how do you respond? Stay neutral. Now, staying neutral begins with emotional regulation. Don't over-explain. How many of you over-explain everything? So it's simply, Mom, I care about you, but I'm not comfortable with this dynamic. So if she's in this emotional intensity, I'm not comfortable with this dynamic. What? Show the dynamic, and you'll get all that, and you're going to go, you repeat it like a parrot, like you would a 3-year-old child. I care about you, but I'm not comfortable, or I'm not interested in this dynamic. I have probably said that a million times, and you may have to say it a million times. This is not a quick fix, okay? So let me go over them real quick. The martyr, the victim, the queen bee, the performer, the gossip, and the emotional chameleon. If you have any of these types as a mom, and you may have all of them at some point, which exacerbates the complexity of dealing with these cultural dynamics. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that? All right. How's the pulse check in the comments?
I would love to read some for you.
Sure.
Majd said, what do you do with those slipper throwing moms?
First, I know we make jokes of the slipper and the Arabi mom. I have to be real clear on this. That is physical abuse. And we minimize that in our culture. Shireen says, run. Yes, run, because you need to protect yourself. However, I want to say, while we make jokes of it, because we need to deflect with humor, we need to stop throwing slippers, shoes, things. Because what you're modeling for young children is it okay to have emotional dysregulation. And then you're the guy that grows up and your partner does something and you're throwing things. Okay? Yes, who said that? Emotional maturity starts when you realize that your family is the first true life difficulty. Yes, that's finding acceptance. So you remember that's abuse. So what do you do with that? You run, yes, you protect yourself. The other thing is, you may want to say to your mom, how is this helping us? I want to be close to you. Yet every time there's an emotional reaction, you throw a slipper, and that doesn't make me feel safe. Well, that's how we are. So then you remove yourself from that situation. And again, you may have to remove yourself multiple times. I don't have all the answers, and I certainly don't have the solutions, because each family and each person is going to respond. What my point in sharing all this is, what if she's throwing a slipper? That's how she feels inside. That's how emotionally in distress she is, that she will throw a slipper to harm her child. Think about that. Now that's how she's feeling, and she wants you to feel the same hurt that she's feeling. And as an adult child, you do not have to go there. Now, if you simply recognize how much pain she's in, you can have that sympathy and understand that a lot needs to be healed. But for you, it's for you to say, I need to make my life easier, and that behavior is not going to work for me. Marco, it is never the child's fault. No matter what, a child does what children do. They break things, they mess things up, they spill things. But it's on the parent's responsibility to interact with that child in a loving, compassionate way. Now, sometimes gentle parenting doesn't work with all personality types. I get that. I know I've been not heavy-handed with my daughter. However, I've set some real clear boundaries, but you don't need to hit a child or hurt a child to assert your authority. Now, I say authority from an authoritative perspective. We don't do this. Knock it off. I need you to go to your room, find your space. But what do parents do? Instead of giving that child that agency or that autonomy to self-regulate, the parent will throw a slipper, will become emotionally dysregulated, and then the child is going to mimic or model that behavior. But I moved on into parenting. But I don't pretend to know that I have all the solutions. So we're wrapping up here. When your mom is being dramatic, don't take it personally. Her emotional intelligence and intensity has more to do with her unmet need, insecurity, and past wounds, not your actions. If this video resonated with you, subscribe and join the community.